So I wanted to get these bent fenders off. I had to take off the spat for the side skirt and unbolt the fender and lift this off. And I really wanted to just start disassembling the front end here and getting as much of this cleaned up as I can to see what I'm dealing with. Radiator cap was still good, which I like. It's OEM. That was trashed and cracked. The power steering reservoir was destroyed in the accident, and the lid to it, the cap, was actually on top of the engine when I found it. The bumper support area, the core support is all bent pretty bad. This is the bar that holds the radiator expansion tank on. The hood was actually still latched, and the bottom of the hood was still connected to the latch, so I had to get rid of that. This is the brace that goes across the top and has the hood latch on it, so I had to remove that, got that out of the way. And I had to really start using some persuasion with a sledgehammer. I tried really hard to get this actual bumper off, and the problem was one of the bolts was twisted in such a way where I couldn't get to it, and I couldn't cut off the bumper itself. So by beating on it and twisting it around, I could finally see it. See, there it is down in there, but it was still hard to get to it. So the only way to really get to that bolt was to get out the grinder and cut a little recessed area in that hole where I could get a socket onto it. So that was the most involved part. This whole bumper support was really on there and twisted in such a way that it was just so difficult to get it off. But I wanted to get the whole front of this car off and get as much of this broken junk out of here. Like you can see the radiator, that's gonna be a job. But see, there we go. I was able to finally get a socket on there and finally remove the actual bumper to the car. That thing was pretty mangled. So I did cut through the radiator too to make room so I could get to the transcooler lines that go into the radiator, since this is an automatic car. And speaking of parts, I got these beautiful new parts for the car. This is 10,000 mile takeoff parts from a guy who went to a manual brake system, manual everything. So all these Hydro Boost lines came off of a 10,000 mile GT. So I got all that. So got the radiator out of the way, and now I've got room to work here and start looking at what I have to deal with. So transcooler lines look good. I did cap those off. I put a bag around them with rubber bands so they don't get dirty or anything. But this thing was mangled up underneath itself pretty bad. So I did fix these little cracks here with some Gorilla Glue. I did just cover them up, and I cleaned them up and covered them up, and they look like they turned out pretty nicely. I let them dry. So I do have some pretty cool updates for the car. I have got some more parts that I just purchased, and things are looking pretty cool, and I've got some decisions to make and stuff, but ultimately I'd like to see if I can get this car back on the road. So you'll see all this in the future, so stay tuned. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this project, and stay tuned for more Mustang content.